Well, welcome back to Finding Traction. And today I want to talk about why people experience recovery success and why they don't. Even guys that are in groups, and I coach a number of different groups, I see some guys that are doing really well and other guys that are still stumbling and essentially moving from one relapse to the other. And it's kind of vexed me and it's kind of confused me. And I've been asking myself, what is the difference? Why do some people do better in recovery, even in groups such as Finding Traction or other groups, than other guys? So today I want to talk about things that I've noticed. This is maybe straight talk from Coach Vern. And I want to talk about 6 recovery approaches. And I say recovery approaches in air quotes that I think are bound to fail. And I see guys, even guys in my groups, falling into these and being less than successful because of them. So welcome aboard.
Ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, along the lines of straight talk, I know Dr. Phil, back in the days of Oprah, became well known for this statement, "How's it working for you?" And he used that sort of phrase to get people to look at the results of their efforts and or the lack of results. And again, you could call this straight coaching talk from Coach Vern. But I have seen guys in groups that essentially I think are doing really well. I have guys that join groups and immediately find success. And other guys join the group and it's like a slow ship turning. But over time, they do find a whole lot more success and sobriety in their lives. It may take a while, and we often kind of caution against expecting immediate results. Because really we're trying to turn our lives around from maybe years or decades of embedded porn use. And it takes time. You know, guys say, well, how long does this process take? And I say, well, you can get some often very quick results, but the long-term recovery, the truly embedding new habits and backfilling your recovery can take a process of 2 or 3 years. So I've seen a lot of varied results, but one thing I have noticed is maybe it's human nature, or maybe it's just our natural ability to, try to find our own way. But I have found that there are some common mistakes or recovery approaches that are really not doing guys a service. They're doing a disservice. And I say this even to guys that are in my groups, even to guys that are in other groups. So I want to point out some of these things that really are tripping us up and really I do think need to be corrected if we're going to find a better result in our recovery efforts. So here is what I think is a common mistake, is what I call just a static approach. You know, when guys get in the group, one of the things we work around is developing a recovery plan, looking at areas of triggers, looking at boundaries, looking at times that they've been vulnerable, areas that they've been acting out, and starting to reverse engineer that and work towards creating a plan. My buddy Matt Dobschutz has this great line, the porn-free plan that doesn't fail. And if you talk to him, what he says and what he means by that is not that the plan is somehow magical, but the plan is something that continually needs to be recalibrated. It continually needs to be modified. It continually needs to be examined. It's like when you put your car, your new tires on your car, they say that you need to, every so many miles or kilometers up here, you're supposed to retorque your wheels because the lug nuts come loose. And now that's, I think, only supposed to be done once. But in this word picture, it's something that we continually need to change. We continually need to modify because the results of our plan may vary. And it's not the plan that never fails. It's failing to change the plan. That's where failure comes in. And so I often say to guys, okay, well, what is working in your plan? What is not working? How are you addressing what is not working? And if you take the approach, well, I set this thing up and it's not working. Well, of course it's not working. Sometimes simply the lizard brain that we all carry will find ways around some of the plans. I swear sometimes there was two versions of Vern. There was the version that wanted to, really wanted sobriety, really wanted recovery, really wanted this better life. And then there was the other self-sabotaging part of me that would do whatever it could to trip me up. And a good plan takes into account not only the good version of Vern, but takes into the reptile version of Vern. And so that's the first thing I see with guys is not continually improving, changing, looking at their plan through real, I guess, just how's it working? What's working? What's not working? That is in one sense, I think, the power of a group, because when you're sharing in a group and you're talking and you're checking in, now this is not in a legalistic or how could you way, but at some point you eventually do get to the discussion, well, what are you doing? If it's not working, what do you want to try differently that you think might give you better success? So those are the sort of questions that come up in our groups, with a good coach, that you can look at your plans, you can look at keeping the things that are working and maybe changing the things that are not working. So the first one, the recovery approach that's just static, that is something I see that is bound to fail. Here's another one. I'm just going to call this the inch by inch approach. And this is also bound to fail. So what do I mean by inch by inch? Well, one of the things I've seen with guys is they kind of have this idea. I know there's the saying inch by inch is a cinch or something like that, but they think of it this way. I want to inch my way to recovery. And so what I want to do is I want to do the bare minimum that's necessary. So let's say, for example, I'm struggling with Instagram. Okay, well, I end up going on the eternal scroll of Instagram looking for those little arousal hits. Okay, well, I still want to keep Instagram, so why don't I put a time limit on Instagram? So maybe I'll limit myself to 15 minutes a day. And so I will take the smallest sort of change that I think is necessary. And so I don't have to take too big of steps, because that would just be too radical. And as a result, they're trying to inch their way to recovery. It's kind of an incrementalist approach. And in one sense, it just trips guys up. And I often say to guys early in recovery, instead of doing inch by inch, why don't you start with overkill? It's always easier once you've experienced total success to back off something. But let's say, you know what? Overkill would be remove all access to Instagram, right? What would overkill be? I know guys that have flip phones. That's overkill. But they just have had so many problems with their phone, they have to go, you know what, I've tried all the little inch by inch steps, and it always trips me up. I always end up working around them. I'm going to go to overkill. I'm going to go to overkill for 6 months, and then I'm going to reevaluate. So that inch by inch thing is I think a real problem and something that trips people up. Now, the next one might sound contradictory to what I just said, but these are guys that are looking for the big change approach. They're thinking, I am one day going to get up and I'm going to make one change and it's going to take care of everything. Now, there could be big changes you make, but usually recovery is in the small things. It's, if you're waiting for some big change of heart or some big emotional or spiritual revelation, you're going to be waiting for a long time. And the idea of recovery is often worked out in the smallest of details. So if you're waiting for some big lightning bolt, it doesn't happen. So there's one of my favorite series is called Orphan X. It's a hitman gone good. And he has this little saying where he says, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And it's dealing with the little details. It's the little details that will trip you up. And so in one sense, if you're waiting for a big lightning bolt and not trying to deal with the small things, that's going to trip you up. So let's go back. First one is just the static approach. I'm going to make a few initial decisions, set up an initial plan, and I should be good to go for all time. No, that's not going to work. Number two, the idea that I'm going to make small inch by inch steps, and that's going to get me to where I want to go. Well, by and large, it's better for you to start with overkill and then back off than try to inch your way to recovery. Number three is waiting for some big lightning bolt experience and looking for the big decision as opposed to simply those small, incremental, day-by-day decisions. Number four, I'm going to call it, this is called the Downey recovery approach. It's named after that fabric softener, Downy, right? You see the advertisements where everyone is putting the nice soft Downy fabric against their cheek. This is people who are looking for the soft, gentle approach to recovery. You are making changes that a big part of your brain, a big part of your life is not going to be happy with. There is no soft, gentle way of recovery. It's at times going to feel abrasive. At times it's going to chafe at you. At times it's going to annoy you. You're going to have to make steps that you don't want to take, but you're taking in service of the greater good. So if you're looking for a soft landing, if you're looking for a soft, gentle approach that doesn't cause you too much discomfort, doesn't cause you too much inconvenience, you are not a great candidate for recovery. I've had to switch more things. I've had to change my music app. I've had to change the way I watch TV, the way I view my entertainment. I've had to change a whole lot in my life. I've had to change the way I travel. All of those things, none of those are convenient to me. There is no soft, downy approach to recovery. And as long as you're looking for it, you'll continually not make the steps that you need to actually make a real effective change in your life. All right. Yes, this is the Coach Vern talk today. And I'm speaking to myself as well, because there's a part of me that constantly wants to go and look for an easy downhill route to recovery. Can't I just ride my bike downhill all day? No, you have to climb some hills, Vern. Okay, now here's the next one. You might find this one surprising. I call this the isolationist approach. Now you're going, okay, so you're talking about guys that never get in a group, right? You're talking about guys that are trying to do it on their own. Actually, I'm not talking about that, because that's another whole thing. We've all, most of us have learned that that's a dead end. I would say that's not even a recovery approach. That's simply a do it on your own. I am talking about guys that are in groups that are taking an isolationist approach. And you go, oh my goodness, what are you talking about? Well, this is what I'm talking about. You can have guys in groups, but they're essentially always on the periphery. They use groups as maybe a confession time. When they're doing well, they tend to not need the group, so they don't come. Or when they're doing poorly, they don't want to come because they're feeling shame or embarrassment. They use the group kind of as a weekly medication. Okay, I got to go and get my Ozempic shot once a week, or I don't know what it is, right? But they use the group thinking that the group is going to provide a magical get out of jail card. But here's the point. They don't practice remaining current with guys. And by this, I mean that they when they're struggling, they don't check in with the group. I'm having a bad day. They don't practice staying close with the guys. And they really are more disconnected than they are connected. I understand that guys occasionally may need to miss a group. We just had American Thanksgiving. We didn't meet on that day, but I'm talking about something that's deeper than that. You can be in a group, but still acting out of old isolationist tendencies. And the only time you show up is when you've stumbled and fallen and you feel horrible and you're using the group to pull you out of a hole, and then you're good. You don't need the group anymore. Or, I don't know how you're using the group, but you're not taking advantage of what the group provides. It's the group connections. It's the we can do what I can't. That's what I'm talking about. So if you're in a group, any group, and you're still essentially practicing an isolationist approach, you really are doing yourself a disservice. I'm not here to rag on anybody or make anybody feel guilty. I'm just saying that what's happening is you're not getting the benefit. You're not getting the reasons you've signed up for being in the group in the first place. The last one is just, I would just say, I think ultimately being in recovery is a humbling experience. And I would say number 6 is what I would just call, I'm better than that approach. And recovery does challenge our pride. And I've seen guys in recovery that are still trying to curate how other people see them. They're still trying to, keep their self-respect. They're still trying to say, I'm not that bad. Or they're still trying to say, I know you guys are having to have all of these boundaries or things. I'm better than that approach. And this is a really subtle one, but I work with guys, and some guys that I work with are broken. And it's like my buddy Jonathan Daugherty over at Be Broken Ministries and Pure Sex Radio. I love the name of that ministry, but they're broken, and they're coming in and they're going, I need God and I need the support of other men to put my life back together. And then I meet other people and they're kind of half broken or a quarter broken. And they're looking for a little addition on their house that's going to maybe improve their life and get their marriage back on track quickly. And they're looking for something that doesn't strike at the root of their pride or their self-respect, or something that they don't have to tell anybody about, so that they don't know they're actually broken and needing to be in something like a recovery group. So I think at the end result, if you're still having to hide that you're in recovery, there's something that is eventually going to do a disservice to you. It's something that's not going to help you. You have to deal with the roots of your pride. All right. Well, we've got 6 different approaches: the static approach, the inch-by-inch approach, the waiting for the big thing approach, the downing approach, the isolationist approach, and I'm better than that approach. Those are some things that I've seen in working with guys that I try to call out and say, you know what, this is not going to serve you well. I know you want more for your life. I know you want more for your recovery or more for your marriage or relationships. So that's kind of the things that having a coach does, having a mentor does. It's not always easy, but it takes you beyond your own defective or denial self-talk. Being in a group can help that, because as you're hearing other people's stories, you can begin to identify where you have been off in your thinking and off in the way you are approaching things. Let me just say, we have a brand new group. I think we've picked 2 of our times right now. We have a brand new group. I think I've got 3 or 4 guys signed up for Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific. That's Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you want to get in a recovery group, we're using a December as kind of a get to know you. And then in January, we're starting on the course together. Email me. Let's get you connected going into the holidays. Don't ruin your holidays like I've done too many times and have a porn-filled holiday. Connect with us. Reach out to me. My email is bandofbrothers.care@gmail.com. We're also going to be starting a group for those who are in ministry. That group, we're trying to do that group, it looks like at Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific, which would be 10 a.m. Eastern. So if either of those interest you, reach out to me. And here's to a great coming holiday, and we will see you on the other side. We'll talk to you later.